Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Dr. Schneider.
Dean Q, thank you for inviting me to speak today at this ceremony. Distinguished faculty, staff, alumni, proud parents, friends, and most importantly, the graduate engineering class of 2017. Thank you for letting me be part of this wonderful moment. Usually when you're wearing a robe this late in the morning, it's because you really haven't recovered from the night before. So whereas that may be true for some of you, for all of you, this is a wonderful moment, and I want you to remember it. And I'm going to talk about why, because it is very important. It is a time to treasure. And I know this from my own experience, that this is a very important time and a pivotal moment and a milestone of great importance. As the dean said, I graduated from Purdue with a bachelor's degree in mathematics. It was not until I was actually looking at different jobs to do the interviews as a mathematician and then transitioned to engineering that despite my love for mathematics, I realized I should have been an engineer. So there was a turn in my path, and fortunately, even though I was in the Midwest, GE here in Lynn, Massachusetts, was looking to hire mathematicians to retrain as marine engineers. So I took a job in the Marine Steam Turbine Department Systems Group in GE in Lynn, Massachusetts. Now, I was the first woman to be there, but I was very supported at the time. And there are these times throughout your life where you have to remember those that support you because it becomes part of your foundation. One of the aspects of my job was that I needed to go out on a sea trial of engine rooms that I had done the work on. Well, at that time in the US, women were not allowed to go out on a sea trial, but there was a loophole. GE was making steam turbines for ships. In this case, it was a very large crude carrier, and it was out in Sweden. Well, this sounded good to me, so I talked to my boss, and we agreed that was going to be my path. So I went out to the sea trial. I was very excited. I had been working hard. So as we transitioned up to the ship, at the entryway, there was the captain. The captain looked at my boss, and then at me, and then at my boss, and he goes, "You're not allowed to bring a girlfriend on the sea trial." He goes, "She must leave immediately." Well, I can't even tell you what thoughts were running through my mind. I was insulted, I was upset, I was angry, and I wanted to tell the captain really what I was thinking. But I paused, and as Michelle Obama once said, when they go low, you go high. And that's exactly what I did. So this is the part of the story that gives you an insight as to why you must remember today. It is when you are being honored and awarded a degree by a prestigious college, and we have agreement on the side there, for your intellect and hard work. When the captain said to me that I needed to disembark the ship because he assumed I was the girlfriend, I paused. I was actually counting to 10, but it worked to my advantage because my boss, wondering why I was so quiet, began to tell the captain all of my qualifications. Hearing my boss defend me gave me the strength that I needed to handle the moment with integrity and grace. And so, instead of telling him what I thought, I quietly walked away and spent the next 3 days working hard. Barely slept, only took naps. I was checking that all the valves were in correctly, right steam pressure, right water level, et cetera, et cetera. And at the end of 3 days, I ran into the captain. And I was thinking, oh, here we go again. And he said, he touched me and he goes, "I'm sorry for what I said." He goes, "You really are a great engineer." So had it not been for that moment where I should have remembered my foundation and my strengths, in that case, it was my mentor who remembered them for me. So that moment, like this moment, if you remember that foundation, it helps you for what you are. You are here because you were first acknowledged as hardworking and brilliant, and so you were accepted into the Tufts Engineering Graduate Program. That alone is a notable achievement. And then you worked hard. And you worked very hard to complete your graduation requirements, and hopefully along the way, you found a path of passion within the engineering field. Remember this moment. You have earned great tools from your education. You recognize for intelligence and stamina. Finally, at this moment, you are surrounded by a network. Family, friends, colleagues, all have supported you along the way. This is a moment that is the foundation of your future. And use this foundation to continuously pursue your path with enthusiasm and effort, which will be constant zigs and zags. Albert Einstein once said, "The secret to life is like riding a bike. You don't lose your balance if you keep moving." So if at any time in the moment you're wondering if you're on the right path, if you chose the right path, it is most important that you just keep moving. He didn't say it has to be a straight path. He said, just keep moving. I make this statement out of experience. My career, my life was zigzag, but I always kept moving. Thanks to my Tufts graduate thermodynamics professor who planted the seed of thinking of life's experiences and problems as nothing more than a consequence of the law of thermodynamics, I always thought of the zigs and zags as a tribute to the second law of thermodynamics, which states that all processes result in an increase in entropy. That is, the process taken as a whole results in a net increase in disorder, which is another way of looking at these wild, disorderly zigs and zags in life and knowing it was inevitable. Yet, from a 3D perspective, if you look at these zigs and zags and you tip it 90 degrees, whoa, it's the shortest path between 2 points. But what typically are these zigs and zags? They were me, as you will find in your life, a bump in the road, hitting a wall, or just all of a sudden feeling that there's another direction that you really must go. And it is at that moment that you find yourself in a new and wonderful direction. And even if that direction, maybe the rest of your life you're going to be at the same company, but it's always a direction that will change in some way. And these are often moments of profound reinvention. This was also me saying to myself at each zig and zag to never, never, never give up. That mantra, which is one of my favorite, is actually often credited to Winston Churchill. Alone will give you the strength that you need whenever you're fighting some battle. Or it could open a magical door of invention. This is true in my career, if you think about what I just said. I went from mathematician to mechanical engineer to signal processing, and then going into acoustic engineering and starting my own company. So if you're questioning if you are on the right path, don't stop and worry, just keep going. But it is important to remember that the zigzag can be more than just your life story. It could be a single event or a project. The Navy recently contacted me to solve a noise problem. Now, this is very interesting because they were telling me how, for an amputee, that you have to put a silicone sleeve over the limb that then goes into the prosthetic leg. And what happens is this silicone creates a heat condition, and this heat condition causes sweating. The sweating causes noises, hence the noise problem. So the question to me was, can you fix this? Their application was for the Navy SEALs. Now, these Navy SEALs could not, I mean, first of all, they were embarrassed at times, but it also meant that they could not go back out into what they were doing before, which they really wanted to do. And they felt this diminished them. So I'm thinking, okay, I will look at the silicone and see what I can come up with. I looked at it one way and another way and another way. And every time I did and I thought I had a breakthrough, I would research it further, and someone else had already thought of it and then proved it didn't work. So what was I to do? I was very frustrated and realized I needed to not give up and to understand it at a deeper level. I'm in New York. I flew out to San Diego, which is where these Navy SEALs were. And there I said, okay, to be able to understand this, I really need to get readings, acoustic readings of the frequency and the decibel level. So there I was walking with them, and we were getting the readings, and I felt like everything was going just fine. I said, okay, I got it. Here we go. Let's go back, sit down. I'm going to take this data back. I'll figure out a solution. And as we were going back, all of a sudden I heard a sound unlike I had heard before. What was that? And I said, oh, let's do that again. I really want to get it. The Navy SEAL, with a smile on his face and a sparkle in his eye, said to me, that wasn't from the silicone sleeve. That was actually the burrito I had from lunch. So that humor bonded me to the Navy SEAL, someone who had lost a limb, who, despite the loss, had a great sense of humor, gave me extra strength to say, I will fix this problem. And after struggling some more, I thought outside of the box, and actually the answer is going outside of the silicone sleeve, which has resulted in now a patent-pending product. As of next month, I will actually have more than 10 patents, but each one involved never getting up, and not only that, but remembering a moment that was a foundation, much like today, that I had worked hard and realized the extraordinary and infinite power within me, as it is in with you. This is the point where I am at the end of the speech, and I'm going to remind you of the themes. They are deeply to remember this moment, but also to embrace the zigs and zags in life and the infinite possibilities that each bring to you. I want to congratulate all of you engineers, but before I do, what I want you to do when I give you the concluding congratulations is to cheer and applaud like your life depended on it. I, of course, am going to say, whoa, I gave such a great speech, and I will remember this moment. But you, on the other hand, are going to use this energy of the applause to remember this moment when you are being applauded for your achievements, surrounded by friends, family, and all those that support you, and all that you are and the infinite power inside of you. Good luck, and here's the cue. Congratulations to the class of 2017.